everybody. Welcome back. This is Miss Faye, and this is my world. All right, today's topic is I went on vacation with a friend, and now my jewelry's missing. All right, before we get started, I'd like to say welcome. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to all the new viewers, the new subscribers, and welcome to you who have been with me from the beginning. I really appreciate you. All right, let's dive right into this letter. I recently went on a vacation to Portugal with a lady whom I've been friends with since 2023. We had planned a trip to Portugal since early 2024, and we were both excited leading up to it. This was our first time traveling together. It so happens that some friends from my home country also planned a trip to Portugal that overlapped with ours. I told her about this and was very excited about the idea of introducing her to my friends, and she seemed happy with the idea. We planned to go eat dinner at a fancy upscale restaurant on the first night in Portugal. I decided to dress up, i.e. cocktail dress and heels, as I wanted to dress properly for that kind of establishment. Well, yeah, you knew. But remember, some people just don't know. They haven't been exposed to certain things, so they wouldn't know. She had booked separate rooms at the hotel, and when I came down to meet her at the foyer, she was dressed down significantly compared to me. You know what? You know what I see right off? I don't think your friend could afford to be here. I don't think she could afford it. You said something about that she booked separate rooms in a hotel. She probably booked a room that she could barely afford in this hotel. And then you're going to say that you all plan to go out to a fancy upscale restaurant. That probably blew out. She probably couldn't afford it. That's why she didn't have the right attire to go to places like that. She came, just to eat on the streets, some pizza, whatever, hang out like that. She never planned on going anywhere where she needed to dress. She was constantly on her phone, probably complaining about you guys. Barely spoke to me and did not want to take pictures together. She's jealous now. Jealous and mad because, number one, your friends are there. You understand? You kind of invited your friends into the mix. Although she seemed happy about it, she wasn't. She wanted it to be just you and her, where you could pick up the tab when she couldn't. You understand? But with your friends there, she's an independent. She actually has to pull her own weight. And she's having an issue with that. And it's making her angry and mad and hating the whole experience. She left her dinner unfinished and went back to the hotel just 30 minutes after arriving at the restaurant. She couldn't relax, claiming that she had a headache. I bet she did. She brought it on to herself, paying these extravagant costs. Now, I'm just guessing. You have to let me know if she had money. But from the letter, it doesn't sound like she can afford this experience. From then on, things just went from bad to worse during the trip. Yeah, a couple of things. Like I said, she either didn't have the money or she was pissed because you invited your friends to come along. And she just wanted it to be you and her. You don't want other friends involved. This way, you could kind of pick up the slack when she couldn't, or she just wanted all of the attention. Okay? The next day, we traveled to another part of Portugal where we were supposed to meet up with my friends from back home. So wait a minute. You mean to tell me she was already acting funny before you met your friends? If that's the case, she can't afford it. She can't afford it. She and I booked an apartment together, and my friends stayed in their own separate accommodations. We had planned and booked day activities as a group, but she suddenly had no interest in taking part or even meeting up with friends. This woman has an issue. She was a bad choice to travel with. You know, a lot of times you don't really get to know a person until you travel somewhere with them. And that's a good rule to use even when you meet a potential partner. Take a day trip with them. You get to see a side of them that you wouldn't see, ordinarily on an ordinary kind of date, because you'd be stuck together for a number of hours, and you'll be able to see more of their personality that way. Travel somewhere with them. Her excuse was always some form of sickness. On most days, I would have to leave her at the apartment and attend the booked activities without her. You probably would have more fun that way, because she sounds like a real drag. We barely saw each other even though we came to Portugal together, as she branched out and created her own itinerary. Stuff she could afford to do. Okay. By the time we were leaving Portugal, things were very tensed, and she was barely speaking to me. Well, you didn't say, but, is your friend romantically attracted to you? That would explain why did she make an advance and you set her straight? You didn't say that in the letter, but I do know sometimes if people uh, are looking at you in a romantic way and you are obviously not interested in them, and that's the reason why they came on this trip, hoping that you would bond, then yeah, that could create a lot of tension. You see, because maybe she was hoping to make a move on you on this trip, but you made it obvious that no, you're not interested in her like that. Could be that. About 3 days after returning from the trip, I noticed that about 5 pieces of expensive jewelry were missing from my portable jewelry box that I took with me to Portugal. Well, that was a bad decision. Why would you take your expensive jewelry out of the country or on a trip? Smart people take fake jewelry on a trip. You never take your expensive stuff, period. On a, what are you trying to prove? Even if you wear the fake stuff, who's gonna know that it's fake? And if it gets stolen, well, hey, you're not out. You never travel with your expensive jewelry or your sentimental jewelry either. My most expensive being an 18 karat gold aquamarine gemstone ring that is very sentimental to me. Well, you can probably chalk that up to being gone. I had last worn the ring on the first night when we went to dinner and did not touch it for the rest of the trip. If you're sitting up there in all your jewels on the first night, you could have pissed your friend off some kind of way because you said she was not dressed appropriately. Because, I say that she couldn't afford it. She didn't know any better. Maybe she's never been to an upscale restaurant, or maybe she didn't know that it was that kind of trip. All right, and it caught her off guard. But I think that if your friend had money, you brought up the idea of going to an upscale restaurant. That day before you went out to dinner that evening, she would have said, you know what? I don't think I brought the right thing to wear. Let's go out and I'll find me something to wear this for dinner. If she had money, That's what she would have said. And then both of you would have been dressed appropriately. But I don't think she had the money. I think when she went to dinner, I don't know if she had to pay for her own dinner or whatever, but she felt out of place. If she's sitting up there in casual clothes and you sitting up there with, dripping in your expensive jewels, okay. I last saw the ring and other missing pieces on our last night in Portugal. Upon noticing, I texted her and asked if she had seen anything lying around the apartment on the day we were packing to leave, and she said no. I considered a few possibilities of what happened to my jewelry. All right, number one, the apartment was broken into. Well, that could be a possibility, not broken into. Somebody has a key other than you. They could have just came in and took something, but I think that's very unlikely unless they took other things. And you say here, I had many other valuable items, electronics, designer bags, and sunglasses, which are not missing. So they only took the jewelry that you had been flaunting at the restaurant. Okay. Number two, my luggage was tampered with at the airport. You say that that's very doubtful because you had a sturdy padlock on it and it was still intact when you got your bag back. I dropped the items during our stay. I also doubt this because my jewelry was stationary on my nightstand throughout our stay. So you had your expensive jewels on your nightstand in this apartment, which I assume was probably an Airbnb or something. In this apartment, just sitting out in the open in Portugal. Think about that. It almost sounds like you didn't value these things as much as you say you did. I contacted the owners of the apartment to ask if they found any jewelry during the cleaning after our checkout, and they said no. Well, you know what? You really expected them to turn it in? Because if the apartment had found it, they would have contacted you. Now, they could have found it and kept it, but when you stay in places like this and you lose something, if they don't contact you and say, yeah, we found so-and-so, whatever, then you're not getting it back. You might as well forget it. All right. The only other possibility is that she stole my jewelry. I really don't want to believe this, but she was the only one with access to my jewelry box, particularly when I was out doing day activities. Yeah, because you went off to the activities and left her at home to stew. And she's pissed. And she probably tried them on, your jewels and all of that. And that envy just ate her up. And so she could have decided, I'm not going to say she did, but she could have decided just to take it to get revenge on you. You say I confronted her about this and told her straight up that I believe she stole my jewelry. I think that was the wrong thing to do. You can't just make these accusations, and that's what they are because you have no proof that she did it. So what did you think? Think about it. For you to confront her and tell her that, yeah, I know you stole my jewelry, what do you think she's going to say? Well, yeah, I'm sorry. Come on. She's going to deny it. Even if she did do it, she's never going to say, I did it and here you go. So I don't understand why you felt that you wanted to confront her. It sounds like you wanted to fight. And that's why you went and confronted her. And you were just waiting for her to say the wrong thing so you can get in a fist fight about it. That's the only time people would do something like this. She became outraged, denied it, and accused me of slandering her character. Our friendship ended at that point. Well, I guess it would. I guess it because you can't trust her, and she, whatever issue that she had with you on this trip, this was the fallout of it. Okay, it was the fallout. I have been thinking about this situation and wondering if I dealt with it correctly. I don't think you should have confronted her. I think you should have just not been with her anymore and let it go. You weren't going to get that jewelry back. She might have just disposed of it just to hurt you. You understand? So this is a lesson, hopefully, that you've learned, uh, about taking trips with people you don't actually know. Because everybody is not trustworthy. And everybody is not nice and kind and empathetic and, you know, and caring. Everybody's not like that. Some people are hurtful and they want to hurt you. So, you have to watch out for yourself. And you go on to say in the letter that you never met her family or you didn't even know this girl. You don't know this girl. All right, let it go. Forget your jewelry because it's gone. You can forget it. If she got it, but in the future, if you decide to go on a trip, go with someone that you've known for years. Don't go with these people that, you just met a year or two and y'all just kind of hung out, I guess, you and her together, whatever. And it sounds like you had not really been with her in different types of situations. Is she going to flip on you the first time you take a trip together? You see, so you really didn't know this girl that well. You know her character, because even you said you never met her friends or family. So you don't even know where this girl come from. You see? So next time, be cautious with the people that you bring in close. Be extremely cautious. I hope you understand the message today, and I really hope that it helps someone. Now, those of you who may have a question that you'd like for me to answer, my email address is in the description. I want to thank you so much for supporting this channel. Thank you for your comments and your letters. And a very special thank you to those that leave a donation. I really appreciate all of you. I wish you all the very best. And I really hope to see you next time.